Well, it's good to be here. It's good to see this.
It's a pretty impressive farm.
The federal investment is $8.3 million in the new organic science cluster. Along with the investment from the organic industry, the total investment in the cluster will be over $12.7 million. The cluster will bring together more than 200 researchers from universities, industry, and provinces, and our own scientists at Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. That, my friends, is the power of partnership.
And I want to really express my appreciation. In this organic science cluster, we have a national science communication program that's included as part of the funding package. So I'm really thrilled to have that announcement included, and we're looking forward to transferring the science that all the researchers are doing out to the stakeholders who can actually do it.
We're also pleased to announce that our government invested almost $300,000 to help the Organic Federation of Canada to develop the Canadian Organic Standards. Persistence pays off.
We are indeed grateful for the funding which allows the review to proceed. And incidentally, Minister MacAulay, in 5 years' time, we'll have to do this all over again.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us on yet another smoky day. On behalf of my partner, Louise, and our 11 employees who are all here today, I want to welcome you to Wild Flight Farm. Louise and I began this farm 25 years ago, full of blind optimism, when organic was a very fringe element of agriculture. The property was a bare cornfield with no buildings, a blank slate, so to speak. Similarly, in the organic movement at the time, there were only a few organic farmers scattered here and there. And while there were already a number of regional certification associations, BC had yet to form an organization that would develop a common provincial standard. Several of the people here today were involved in creating that provincial organization, the Certified Organic Associations of BC, that then managed to interest the province in creating a legal framework for the BC Certified Organic. Quebec was the only other province that would achieve that. A national standard wouldn't come along for another 15 years. And when it did, it was largely through the efforts of Patty Doherty, also here today. Patty, way in the back there, with funding from BC. Patty crisscrossed the country to build consensus for the idea of a national standard, followed by the even greater challenge of writing that standard. Now, many years later, the organic community continues to grow in the North Okanagan with dozens of agricultural entrepreneurs. Collectively, we produce a wide range of foods, from cheese and yogurt, grains and pulses, red meats and poultry, not to forget fruits and vegetables, and beer, just to mention a few, and all organic, of course. It is within this community, organic and regional, that Wild Flight Farm has grown and matured, becoming a year-round source of organic vegetables for customers from Kelowna to Revelstoke. Similarly, with an internationally recognized organic standard and several national organizations, the organic sector in Canada has developed to the point where it is no longer a fringe element of agriculture. It's an honor for our region to host this announcement, continuing to build on those humble beginnings. Just as an aside, it's not often that a federal minister of agriculture comes to the North Okanagan. The last time that I can remember, it was Eugene Whalen in a different Trudeau government. And at the time, it was at the Enderby Legion in the late 70s. So it was with great pleasure that I welcome former potato and dairy farmer and current Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food, the Honourable Lawrence MacAulay, to the North Okanagan. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Herman, and I am younger than Eugene, older than most, but very pleased to be here today and Hermann and Louise, you certainly, it might have been blind optimism, but looking at what I see here, it certainly worked out very well. What beautiful colors, what a great, it's so beautiful. Being a farmer, it makes me feel good. And I want to thank everybody for coming here, and I want to welcome Nicole Boudreau, Organic Federation of Canada, Patty Doherty, that has been introduced and did a lot of work to make sure the likes of this could take place, Garth Patterson and Jim Robbins and Andy Hammermeister. Over the past couple of months, I've been taking the time to visit with innovative farmers like you across this country. Our theme is growing Canadian agriculture, and that is exactly what we're doing here at the Wildflights Farm. My wife and I grew potatoes and milk cows in Prince Edward Island. We know what hard work and dedication it takes to build a farm business and grow quality vegetables. You're meeting consumers' demands for quality local food. And you're a part of an incredible diversity of our agricultural sector here in British Columbia. I also want to welcome, as I did at the start, the organic people that are leaders that are here. The organic industry in Canada continues to grow, and you're a big part of that reason. You're bringing together all the key players in the Canadian organic industry to develop world-class standards that our customers can trust and respect. Today, Canadians buy over $5 billion in organic products every year, and the market is growing by leaps and bounds. Canada is among the largest market for our organic products in the world. 2 out of 3 Canadian customers are now buying organic products. Our exports have reached over $500 million a year, and we certainly want to see that number increase. Our organic products are respected here in the Shuswap and around the world. Our challenge is to build a Shuswap and around the world. Our challenge now is to build on this growth, and that is why the work of the Federation is more vital than ever. That is why our government continues to support a strong organic industry here in Canada. Since taking office, our government has already invested over $20 million to help ensure that the Canadian organic sector can meet the growing demand of organic products. Well, today I'm pleased to announce that we're building on that work with a federal investment of over $8.6 million to help Canadian organic industry compete, grow, and prosper for many years. The federal investment is $8.3 million in the new Organic Science Cluster. Along with the investment from the organic industry, the total investment in the cluster will be over $12.7 million. That's a lot of money. Innovation is the lifeblood of the industry. Innovation is delivering new tools to help Canadian organic farmers compete, meet the growing demands for their products. Over the past decade, the Organic Federation of Canada has done a great job of leading 2 organic research clusters. These clusters bring together industry and scientists, deliver research, and meet your needs. For example, thanks to the past research, Canadian organic farmers now have new weed control products for orchards and vineyards. And I was interested in how you cover the carrots. I'm not sure I ever saw that before, but it's way better than spray. I don't know if it's cheaper or not, but as long as you make money, that's the big thing. And they now have new oat varieties that are higher in nutrition. The Organic Federation of Canada will work with key partners such as the Organic Agricultural Centre at Dalhousie University. The cluster will bring together more than 200 researchers from universities, industry, and provinces, and our own scientists at Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. That, my friends, is the power of partnership. For British Columbia, the investment brings today includes $1 million in support in groundmaking research done by students and scientists at the University of British Columbia and Agriculture Canada's provincial research stations. Over the next 5 years, researchers across the country will find ways to make Canada's organic products more competitive. It will help our hard-working organic farmers boost crop yields with better soil, improve pest control, and evaluate the environmental impacts of organic farm practices. We're also pleased to announce that our government invested almost $300,000 to help the Organic Federation of Canada to develop the Canadian Organic Standards. Persistence pays off. We recognize the organic standards are the backbone of the organic industry. This investment will help Organic Federation conduct a full review of standards. It will also help them to explore ways to secure funding for a number of industry's key priorities for the future, like growing markets and boosting yields. So this is an historic day for Canadian organic industry. The future of the organic industry is certainly bright indeed. Our government has identified agriculture as a priority to achieve growth and job creation. We have set an ambitious target of $75 billion of agriculture and agri-food products by 2025. I am confident that our federal investments announced today will help Canada's organic industry with growing our jobs and our economy and make sure more people are able to enter the middle class. Once again, thanks to the Organic Federation of Canada and all your partners for your vision and leadership. And thanks to Louise and Hermann for having us here today. It's a beautiful day, and things will get better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Minister MacAulay, Hermann, who's not just our host here today, but he's the penultimate president of the Organic Federation of Canada, the one just before me. Andy, Garth, and all of you friends of organic agriculture, I bring greetings from the Organic Federation of Canada and thus from all the provincial associations that form the Organic Federation of Canada. It's a great pleasure to be with you on the beautiful farm of the Bruns family to celebrate two momentous announcements. The Organic Science Cluster 3, which is the research part of the announcement, and the Canadian Organic Sustainability Framework, which is a fancy name for help with the organic standard review. They have very important consequences now and in the future for the organic industry in Canada, and it's very good that these two announcements have occurred. Andy Hammermeister will speak about the Organic Science Cluster in more detail. I just wanted to say that improving the scientific understanding of organic production systems is crucial to the development of organic agriculture and crucial to the lives of organic farmers. Farming's not an easy profession. Challenges are myriad, particularly when you're determined to farm in such a way that the natural environment is preserved and enhanced. Since organic agriculture produces grains, legumes, vegetables, oilseeds, wines, beers, meat, dairy products, in other words, the entire gamut of what Canadians eat and drink every day, our research needs are great. We're not a single commodity, we're all of the commodities. We are also thrilled by the $4.4 million contribution from our industry partners. We have one industry partner here today, Garth Patterson. He'll speak shortly, and we're thrilled about that large contribution from the industry partners. I'll say a little bit more about the second funding announcement today, the Canadian Organic Sustainability Framework. Together with funding previously announced by Minister MacAulay at the Guelph Organic Conference, the organic industry will now be able to conduct the 5-year review of the Canadian Organic Standard, which is required both by the Canadian General Standards Board and by the organic equivalency agreements which Canada has with the United States, Europe, and others. This is a crucial process for the Canadian organic industry. Our standards must be current, or we will simply be shut out of international markets. The funding announcement made today will allow the Canadian Organic Standard to be strengthened and renewed in the light of everything we've learned in the last 5 years about organic production. The standards do not fall under the category of light or entertaining reading, and incidentally, if you have trouble sleeping, maybe the Organic Standard should sit by your bedside. But nonetheless, they are foundational. They're key. If we do not have that standard, we do not have an organic industry. We are indeed grateful for the funding which allows the review to proceed. And incidentally, Minister MacAulay, in 5 years' time, we'll have to do this all over again. So. A part of the grant for the Canadian Organic Sustainability Framework will fund a study of possible mechanisms which could support our provincial organic associations. Many of those associations do not have strong financial bases. That's not so true in BC, but it is true in many other provinces. Because organic agriculture is a production system rather than a commodity or set of commodities, agricultural checkoff legislation as it currently exists does not apply to us. We hope that the Canadian Organic Sustainability Framework project will illuminate paths for provincial organic associations and will lead them to the firm footing which the development of the Canadian organic industry requires. Thanks again, Minister MacAulay, and to your government for the dual announcements today. We are most grateful.
Thanks, Jim. Next up is Dr. Andrew Hammermeister. He's the director of the Organic Agriculture Centre of Canada, based at Dalhousie University in Toronto.
Wow, hooray! What a beautiful day for a celebration, and thank you all for joining us. It's fantastic. These are really incredible announcements for the organic sector, and I hope that we all appreciate them. Thank you, Minister MacAulay and Jim Robbins, the Organic Federation of Canada, and all of our industry partners in the Organic Science Cluster program. This is really a fantastic announcement. Organic agriculture is entering its next stage in its evolution globally, and it's a movement called Organic 3.0. And in that movement, there are features that invite us to have a culture of innovation, continuous improvement, and collaboration. And I think that the Organic Science Cluster definitely fits those features. In order to achieve these features, we need to have research that is relevant to the industry. And I'm pleased to say that the Organic Science Cluster has developed as a result of a national science consultation process that went on well before the cluster program started. It went through a review. All of the proposals that were submitted were reviewed by 20 industry stakeholders from across the country to make sure that the science was going to be relevant to the organic sector. It also has to have integrity. If organic agriculture and organic science is going to have integrity, we have to have it reviewed by peer scientists across the country. And this program, we had over 100 peer reviewers from across Canada and around the world reviewing the science that's proposed in this research program. So we have science that has impact, it's relevant, and it has integrity for the organic sector, which I'm really excited about. So as a result, we have 28 research activities or projects that have been approved for funding, and that research will support 60 researchers that are receiving funding, but over 200 collaborating researchers, including graduate students, and of course the summer students that are being trained as well. So it's a really significant funding program for science in Canada. The funding will go to 15 Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada research stations, as well as 14 universities and other research institutions across the country. So you can see, as was mentioned previously, organic agriculture is very broad and it's multidisciplinary, and we're spreading that science across the country. In order to have innovation, you need to have you need to have the research being adopted by the stakeholders who can use it. And that can only happen if the science is being communicated. And I want to really express my appreciation. In this Organic Science Cluster, we have a national science communication program that's included as part of the funding package. So I'm really thrilled to have that announcement included, and we're looking forward to transferring the science that all the researchers are doing out to the stakeholders who can actually do it. So with that, I want to acknowledge a couple of the people who have really been the workhorses behind developing this program and bringing it to fruition. And that would be Nicole Boudreau with the Organic Federation of Canada and Margaret Graves at Dalhousie University. So as I leave the podium, please join me in acknowledging them. Thank you again, Minister, and all of our supporters. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Louise and Herman, for hosting this today. Very much appreciate it. And Minister MacAulay, nice to get together again. And you always know I check with your neighbor, my Uncle Spud, out in PEI, before we get together. And he says, you're a salt of the earth guy, and we can trust, and you're going to deliver the goods for us. So I got the good word from my Uncle Spud on you, anyways. And Jim and Andy, nice to see you again. And again, Nicole, Margaret, and others, congratulations, all the hard work you put on getting this together. I represent a farmer foundation. There's 18 farmers that sit on our board. We're called the Western Grains Research Foundation. We're a charity, and we invest in field crop research solely to benefit farmers. And there's a number of projects that we're involved in here today, and the role, we always look at ways to collaborate in provincial and federal programs, and we were involved in the last organic cluster and very pleased to be involved in this one again. And we've committed $675,000 from our foundation to this over 5 years, and it's primarily field crop related projects, so probably not too much in vegetables that you see here, but related to soybean agronomy, winter cereal breeding, and sustainable cropping, and some weed management and soil health initiatives. So that's where we are. And Gord, if you would put your hand up and wave, Gord Andrusoff is the program manager that works together with me, and he's the specific one that's going to be working with the Organic Federation on that. So again, thank you, Minister, the Government of Canada, and all the partners. I wish all the organic producers and researchers success in this moving forward. And I'm turning it back to you, Herman, because I know there's some other things on the agenda now. And look forward to seeing your farm after this.
Thanks, Garth. So that pretty much closes the speaker portion. I did want to just mention something that I forgot to say earlier, is that we feel privileged to be farming this in this area, farming this land, and that it is. We want to recognize that it's unceded territory for the Secwepemc Nation, and hopefully with organic techniques, we're keeping good care of the land.
I'm Margaret Graves. I'm a program manager with the Organic Agriculture Centre of Canada at Dalhousie University, which is based in Toronto, Nova Scotia. And who are you?
I'm Carmen Wakeling. I'm the president of the Certified Organic Associations of BC and the owner of Eat More Sprouts on Vancouver Island.
That's great. And Carmen, what did you think about today's announcement?
Well, as a former recipient of an Organic Science Clusters 2 Project Award, I'm extraordinarily excited to see this project move ahead, and I'm so glad to have this happen, and very exciting to have it happen here. But I really look forward to seeing what comes from this work, and thank you to the Minister for making the announcement today.
Thank you.
I'm Rebecca Kneen from Crannóg Ales and Leftfields Cooperative Farm.
And how did you feel about today's exciting announcement?
Very excited. It's really great to see this level of support from the federal government for organic research. There's a lot of work to be done, and as was mentioned, we in organic agriculture and organic processing, we cover every crop that you can think of, but we're treated generally more as though we were a very small sector of agriculture and production in Canada. So this level of support is a really good indicator of how important organic agriculture is, not just to the organic industry, but to actually feeding people in Canada and to taking care of the earth that we farm on.
Wow, thank you.